welcome back to Fourth and Troll Fantasy. Ladies and gentlemen, Fourth and Trollers, welcome back to Fourth and Troll Fantasy, most entertaining fantasy show on the planet. I'm Noah Selby.
And I'm Wes Selby.
And today we're talking quarterbacks. It's time. We're this close, dude. I have drafts within like the next 2 weeks. We're here.
I have a chronic mock draft problem right now. It is
it's
bi-hourly.
Yeah,
I can't
it's
stop.
like same. Anytime I'm pooping, which is bi-hourly, I'm mock drafting. So there you go. Yeah. IBS gang, rise up. Anyway, we're going over top 10 quarterbacks this week. It's going to be a great one. These are the top 10 quarterbacks. Each of our lists, which, spoiler alert, happen to have just like one player overlap. So it's really all the guys that we kind of know and love, but some surprises in there as well. Let's get straight into it, Wes, should we?
Yes, let's do it. We're starting from quarterback number 1 on our list, going down to 10, because there are no surprises really who the quarterback 1 could be. We do that for the tight end, our top 10 tight ends. You can check that video. You can check out that video, and then same for the other rankings we're going to do here. Here's my quarterback,
so my quarterback one is Jackson Dart.
Yeah, it's Daniel Jones.
Yeah,
if he even gets the job. No, of course, quarterback 1 for me, 2025 is going to be Lamar Jackson. And it could be really any 3 quarterbacks, your choice. I'm sticking with the reigning quarterback 1 of 2024. He's number 1 for me because I'm just kind of honoring what he just did last season, which is the most points any player has ever scored in fantasy football history. That is the most anybody has ever put up. 490 points. And when he's healthy, no one is better. I think you're automatically in the playoffs if you draft Lamar Jackson. So he's number 1 for me. Not much more to add to it.
That's 6-point passing touchdown, isn't it?
For some of these, I can look it up. But
I was about to say,
across all formats.
I thought it was like 430, but I could be wrong. I very well could be wrong. I'm not sure. I do know it was a whole lot. Yeah, it's great. I'm going to talk about him just a second. My QB1, as you said, Wes, it's no really surprise why we're starting up at the top here. My QB1 is Josh Allen. Okay, it's kind of plain and simple. I mean, it's one of these handful of guys. He had the lowest attempts, yards, and touchdowns in the last 5 years, and he was still the QB2. So I don't know what more. The rushing upside is incredible. He has had 12 plus rushing touchdowns in each of his last 2 seasons. And honestly, going in the 3rd round, isn't that bad. You could get 2 stars and then add a stud quarterback if that's how you want to build out your team. So I've got Josh Allen as my QB1.
Yeah, until something changes with Allen and Jackson, they're number 1, number 2. The lot is going to have to shift. Kind of like with Mahomes. You just put Mahomes in the top 3 for years and years until it changed. And then it did change. So for me, Josh Allen is my QB2 for 2025. All that you said and more. No particular reason I put Josh Allen as number 2 other than what I said about just honoring Lamar's greatest fantasy season in history. So I've got Josh Allen as number 2, obviously.
Yeah, this is going to be a short bit up at the top. Jackson is my QB2. So it's everything you said. I echo it. The passing efficiency, he might not throw for 40 touchdowns again. That was his best season passing touchdowns wise, but he's locked in. He's a top quarterback option, and you should take him. So Jackson is my QB2. Big surprises here at the top.
That's why we started with number 1. There's not much anticipation to build up to, wow, is it Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen? All right, quarterback 3 for me for 2025. Let's talk about Joe Burrow. He's my quarterback 3 on the season. You could go with a couple other players here, the top 3, but I've got Burrow for what you want as what I consider the desirables for a fantasy quarterback for the passing game. You've got what we assume is going to be a terrible defense, and you've got arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL. You've got arguably the best number 2 wide receiver in the NFL, and you've got a pretty solid PPR running back in Chase Brown, Mike Gesicki. They brought in Noah Fant recently. Is that correct? He went to the Bengals. Okay, one more weapon for him. He doesn't need another weapon. He's fine. He was less than 100 yards away, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, from 5,000 yards last season. I don't want that to go unnoticed. We didn't talk about that. Nobody's really talking that. He almost threw 5,000 yards. He would be one of 10 quarterbacks. So let's not kid ourselves. He's going to be incredible. I've got Burrow as number 3.
And I don't fault you. I don't have him quite that high, but we will discuss him on my end here in just a little bit. My QB3 for 2025 is Jalen Hurts. Okay, I'm gonna maybe give him his flowers where they're due, dude. In our home league last year, I don't remember the guy who came in second, and he only came in second because he lost Hurts at the end of the year. Jalen Hurts fell to like the 7th or 8th round in our home league draft last year, and like all of us were just too stubborn. Like I was so in on Kyler and like that kind of thing to like pull the trigger and
Yeah.
take the value. But he's QB8 in 14 games, and Saquon Barkley, as great as he is, he's gonna regress. Like it's not gonna be the Saquon show completely again this year. With the third hardest strength of schedule, meaning more passing volume, they're not gonna be able to kind of just ground and pound in the second half. You know, I remember 2 years ago you just hated having Eagles players. Like it was fun when the game started because you got all your fantasy points in 2 quarters, and then it was like,
That's
oh,
right.
dude, what is going on here? So I have Jalen Hurts as QB3. I think he's gonna be fantastic.
Yeah, I don't have Jalen Hurts as high. I also expect some regression from Kyler Murray. I don't, and I've already been saying this, I've got some concerns with the health all around for the Eagles offense. But I mean, anybody
Regression from
with,
Kyler Murray?
sorry, I'm going to talk about him in a second. I'm already just looking at my stuff here. Jalen Hurts.
Already
Jalen
taking his
Hurts.
pants off.
I am. Sorry,
Yeah.
spoiler. Yeah, I expect a regression in some ways for the Eagles offense all around. But anyone with rushing upside, any quarterback with rushing touchdowns upside is going to be great. He'll come up
Right.
later on. I don't have him that high, but okay. Sorry. Clearly, I'm very giddy. We're both very giddy. If you clicked on the video, you know why we're giddy because of the thumbnail. But number 4 quarterback for me is Kyler Murray. And let's talk about how he came off an ACL tear and finishes a top 10 quarterback. Let's talk about how anybody with rushing upside is going to be a top 10 quarterback. And Noah, you touched on it a little bit with our tight ends video on how few touchdowns Trey McBride had. Of course,
Yeah.
that's going to increase. And then you have Marvin Harrison, who, even if he takes just a small step forward, it's going to be more production for Murray, who had only 21 passing touchdowns last season. That is all going to increase. We're going to be closer to 30 passing touchdowns. And I would also say that any quarterback with rushing upside deserves to be in the top 10 conversation, but a quarterback with rushing upside that can throw 3,500 yards, close to 30 touchdowns, is definitely in the top 5 category. And that's Kyler Murray. I know we're upset with him because Marvin Harrison didn't explode, but I mean, we've seen it before. Justin Fields has been top 10. Daniel Jones has been top 10. We've had players that just have any kind of rushing upside. If they can throw 3,500 yards, which Kyler certainly can, he almost did last season, fully healed ACL. I'm ready for a massive season from Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I mean the rushing upside is untapped. Even still, he has said this offseason he needs to run the ball more. He watched Lamar Jackson film to be like, oh yeah, that's a way better option for an outcome of a play is when he took off there versus try to force something or try to read the field again. So I expect a improvement from Murray. So I don't blame you for being excited. Thanks for clicking on the video. We're giving away a signed Brian Thomas Jr. helmet, by the way. All you got to do is
Oh,
subscribe
yeah.
and join our Discord. That's it. Literally, it's all free. And you gain fantasy insight because we're always chatting it up in the Discord as well. So we're all that's gonna be linked down below. So do that. My QB4 for 2025 is Jaden Daniels. I am not falling victim to the fears we have of CJ Stroud in year 2. I believe Jaden Daniels is still going to be absolutely fantastic. He runs more than any other quarterback in the league, and in fantasy football, that is an absolute hack, and you cannot deny it. They added Debo Samuel. Say what you want about Debo, but he's better than Olamide Zaccheaus or whoever, or the ghost of Zach Ertz or whatever as a second option in that offense. And Cliff Kingsbury will be able to use him well. I don't love him at cost just because that's pretty high for a second year, a guy that we've only seen do it once versus Josh Allen, who, you know, you've seen do it a lot. Lamar, you've seen do it a lot. But if he gets to maybe the 4th round in your draft, I have no issue taking him if you get to load up there. So his QB5, while missing a game, I believe he's going to be great. He's going to be awesome. And I urge you to draft him. He's going to be fantastic. He's going to be a lot of fun for fantasy football.
Yeah, I've got him coming up as well. He's still going to be in the top 5 conversation. I'll just add one more thing when we get to him for mine. But yeah, no concerns, no fears. I'll talk about him in a moment here. My quarterback 5 on the season, when he's healthy, he's really freaking elite in fantasy, and it's Dak Prescott. Them's the maths, baby. Like, a healthy Dak Prescott is better than your quarterback.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the answer. Unless you've got a rushing quarterback, Dak Prescott 9 times out of 10 is better than your quarterback in fantasy. That's how it's been since he's been the starter. And when you add George Pickens to this conversation now, I don't know if anybody's been paying attention to training camp. We're certainly going to be talking about training camp. Oh my gosh, George Pickens is dominating. And CeeDee Lamb looks as good as he's ever been. I don't know how many yards Dak Prescott's going to get, but there is a real chance he could lead the league in passing touchdowns and or passing yards. It's all there. I know the offensive line has regressed, but it's the same situation as the Bengals. We expect this defense to be worse, especially right now. We don't know the Micah Parsons situation, but if he's not on the Cowboys, forget it. They're going to have to throw. They don't have a true running back just yet. Dak Prescott's going to sling his way, I think, into the top 5 for 2025.
To the moon. Yeah, I agree. I'll talk about it in just a sec. My QB 5 to round out the top half here is Joe Burrow. He's still in my top 5. If he's out there, he's a top option. QB 8, 4, and 3 when he's healthy. Defense, you just mentioned it. Defense is just as bad as last year. Maybe worse if they somehow don't get Trey Hendrickson signed, although at this point now in the offseason, it sounds like they will. He has reported to camp. But if the Bengals want to win, Joe Burrow has to play football. And if he plays football, he's great. So, and no, not much more to it. We already discussed it. Just great options. Great, threat to go for 5,040 any given year. So, just let him cook. I don't have anything else to say. Take it away. QB6, second half.
QB6 for me is Jaden Daniels. All I was going to add when Noah was talking about Jaden Daniels is that the Terry McLaurin situation doesn't concern me. Whoever his pass catchers are, that's the thing. You have a rushing quarterback who can rush for 1,000 yards on the ground. That is unbeatable. So I got him outside the top 5 just because I do think that the passing upside for the other 5 quarterbacks for me is just a little bit more intriguing. I think the rushing touchdown ability is a little bit better for Kyler Murray and Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, probably, but he's definitely in that conversation. And Jaden Daniels, whoever his pass catchers are, will help him get more points. But as long as he can still run, he's going to be a very good draft pick. But I'm with you, Noah. It's a little too expensive. A little too expensive for guys that I've already mentioned going way later in the draft, like Kyler Murray and Dak Prescott, that I think have just as high of an upside, and based on my rankings, an even higher upside than Jaden Daniels. Less of an injury concern, I think, for Joe Burrow. Dak Prescott coming off an injury, Jaden Daniels rushing quarterback injury. It's all the same to me. They all have the same risk, the same ceiling, same floor. So I like the value for almost all these quarterbacks better than Jaden Daniels. But as far as top 10 rankings, yeah, he's in that conversation.
Yeah, that's fair. I did mean to mention that the Terry McLaurin situation has massive implications for Jaden Daniels specifically. He doesn't land inside my top 5 if Terry McLaurin gets traded, and I would stay away at that point. Even though he'll still be great on the ground, and that makes you elite. Anyways, my QB6 is your QB5, Wes. It's Dak Prescott. Not much more to say. They add George Pickens. Defense is gonna be worse. If Jerry Jones somehow fumbles this contract and lets Micah Parsons walk, which it sounds like he doesn't even want to be there. It's even better for us for fantasy football for Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
QB 3, 8, and 2 in his last 3 healthy seasons. He's going as the QB 15. It's not much more to say. He's fantastic and it's great value and he's going to be awesome. So I don't know much more on that.
I just want to throw out one random thing here. So a friend of mine were talking, who could Micah Parsons legitimately go to that would be a contender? Like, it wouldn't just be like, oh, Eagles go get Micah Parsons. Like, who would go from pretty good team to like Super Bowl? I think Packers are an option. Packers could do something and that could change. Just seeing where Micah Parsons could go, just a random thought. But like, there's no way that he I can't imagine he doesn't stay with Dallas. Jerry Jones always folds. Whatever. That's not the point.
Idiot.
My QB7 is now where I have Jalen Hurts. I'm not sure how much rushing upside he's going to have. I know Saquon's going to have a regression. We're very certain of that here on Fourth and Troll. I also just I will get more into my concerns about the pass catches when we do our wide receiver rankings. But I again, this has been the point of this video. If you've got a quarterback with rushing upside, they're better than every other quarterback. The floor is so safe. It's so smart. Yes, they have a higher chance for injury, but the ceiling is better than any other quarterbacks. The floor is so safe. So even if, again, Jalen Hurts had very few yards, he had less than 3,000 passing yards. I didn't realize that, but he did not throw it a lot. He just
Yeah.
had a lot of rushing
Didn't need
touchdowns
to.
and a lot of rushing yards.
Yeah.
That's the point. That is literally the point. So Jalen Hurts still in my top 10, not as high as you have him. For me personally, I'm not liking the ADP because I've got him way lower. And we're already talking about, Dak Prescott being someone that you can get that has top
Sure.
5 upside with a great ADP, and Kyler Murray having top 5 upside as well, also later. So there's some quarterbacks I prefer
Sure.
over Jalen Hurts for drafting, but still a top 10 for 2025.
7-3, gonna be great. But it just depends on how you want to build out your team. So my QB7 here is Kyler Murray. This is where I have Kyler at. Not much more to say. Somehow was still QB10, and it was a miserable year if you were a Kyler Murray owner because you hated it. You think, how is he still top 10 quarterback after that? And he was. Only thing I'll say, last time he had a wide receiver with over 1,000 yards, he was the QB2. So I believe Marvin Harrison lands in that tier this year, given how, yes, compared to expectations, he wasn't as good as we wanted him to be. He was still a really good rookie wide receiver. And so I think Kyler's going to be great, and he's a great price in drafts.
My quarterback 8, I've got Drake May as a top 10 quarterback in fantasy for a couple of reasons. I don't care about Stephon Diggs. I don't think that's part of the reason he's going to end up as a top 10 quarterback in fantasy football. I'm hearing a lot of great stuff about Demario Douglas.
I mean, I don't think it'll hurt him.
No. I'm not saying it's going to be a regression. I'm not saying that's the reason.
Stephon Diggs, 400 yards and 3 touchdowns end of the
year. Lucky if he's lucky.
Yeah.
Stupid idiot. No, the real reason is we should pay attention to his rushing upside. He had 421 yards in 13 games, and that's including games that he didn't start in. He was just there. A quarterback that had 54 rushing attempts. These are elite numbers if you're going to take that step up. Obviously, the offensive line has increased in some way. I don't know if it's going to be a great offensive line, but when you draft a guy in the top 4, they're 4th overall, right? That was their draft pick.
Yeah.
The top 5. Those offensive linemen historically are really, really good. So let's consider also the rushing game is going to open up with Travion Henderson. Ramondre Stevenson still a PPR back, whatever it is. There are some weapons all around. I'm not saying that he's going to take this jump up to be top 5 like Josh Allen did with Stephon Diggs. This is a different Stephon Diggs, but the rushing upside is there.
Yeah. The same reason, some of the things you talked about with Drake May, same reason that this guy is my QB8. It's Bo Nix. This is where I have Bo Nix at. Another year in the Sean Payton system, added some more weapons to the offense with Evan Ingram, RJ Harvey. And as you talked about the rushing upside with Drake May, Bo Nix also has a crazy rushing upside. People don't want to, maybe it's not the first thing they think about with Drake May, but he legitimately has real rushing upside just as much as, I mean, he was I think outpacing Kyler Murray last year. Or I don't hold me on that, but I believe that's the case.
Let's take a look.
He was QB7 with essentially a month of no production to the start of the year. He was really struggled in the first 4 games, as a rookie quarterback usually should. He just ended as a QB7 with essentially like a really he was like barely being a QB2 for the first month of the season. A QB2, not QB2. But from week 5 on, he was the quarterback 5 on the year. So I just think it's going to be a really good year for Bo Nix, and I think he's gonna blossom a little bit in this Peyton system.
Yeah, I've got him as my QB9. I'll just jump right into it. Bo Nix is my QB9 for 2025 for all those reasons. I'm especially high on RJ Harvey as well in the PPR volume that he should be getting in this Alvin Kamara type role in this Sean Payton offense. It's all there. I don't expect Cortland Sutton to be nearly as great as he was last season. He could still have a fantastic season. It just might, I don't know. These contracts end up being strange years for wide receivers. They finally get the bag and they're just not like as great as they were the year they were trying to get a contract. So whatever it is, Bo Nix, his floor is so great just because he's got that rushing upside. So however it plays out, if Sutton is still a beast, if Marvin Mims comes alive, if Evan Ingram is as great as he's ever been, then Bo Nix could be top 5. If none of that works out, he's still top 10 because of his rushing upside.
Yeah, I think he's going to be awesome. I think he's a really good value, too, again, going a bit later in drafts. My QB9, he's still here, reluctantly. It's Patrick Mahomes. It was a disgusting year last year. It was a disgusting pick to make. Wasn't exciting. But the reality is, from week 9 on last year, he was the QB7. Listen, I'm not here claiming that he's going to be an every week difference maker in your lineup, and based on ADP versus my ranking, you shouldn't be drafting him. But I don't know how much is left there in the run game. I don't want to disrespect Isaiah Pacheco too much, but it just doesn't feel like they're going to be able to have the run game carry them with this Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, Elijah Mitchell, Brashard Smith, like quintuple here of running backs. And so you can't convince me to pick him, but if he ends the year QB and 9, 8, 7, like I wouldn't be shocked. And so this is just where he's at for me.
He's not in my top 10, but I'm really liking his pass catchers enough that if I needed, it sounds so weird. Imagine 4 years ago saying if I needed to stream Patrick Mahomes in place for a bye week, like that would be like, what do you mean you didn't take him in the second round? Like,
he'll be a great streaming quarterback, and it's a bummer he's not drafted that way. Like he'll cool. Like
yeah, I've got him top 15. I don't think he'll be top 10, but I do like what's happening with Rashee Rice. Looks very healthy. All right, number 10 quarterback for 2025. I could have gone with like 3 different quarterbacks because no one's drafting the 10th best quarterback and sticking with that quarterback.
Excitedly,
you end up adding them off the waiver wire. So right. I could have gone with Baker Mayfield. I didn't. I could have gone with Geno Smith. I didn't. I could have gone with Matthew Stafford. I didn't. I decided to go with Jared Goff just because I like more of the pass catchers than any of the other guys. That's pretty much it. Jared Goff, I think, still sees his way in the top 10, repeats in the top 10. And there you have it. I mean, as long as those guys are all healthy and still on that field, and Jahmyr Gibbs should have an even increased role in the passing game. Yeah, mine as well. Goff can be top 10.
Yeah. I mean, he's my QB 10 as well. There, like you said, a lot of guys could have been in this spot. We're kind of, Baker Mayfield was in consideration here. He's a guy that isn't in this list for me. But he's just outside of it. Justin Fields could have been here. Drake May could have been here. Those are all guys that are pining for that last spot there. Goff's been a top 10 quarterback each of the last 3 years. So I just, credit where credit's due, but I like John Morton. I liked what he did with Bo Nix last year. I like what he is saying he wants to do with this offense this year, but Goff is going as the QB9. So I would rather, wait and shoot for some higher upside at that point. Any of those 3 guys I just talked about, we wouldn't be waiting on Baker. Baker goes before him, but good stuff. There you go. These are the, I guess 11 quarterbacks that you should not let your league mates win a title. You need to come out of your drafts with one of these guys here. Ideally, these guys here in the top 8 who are super exciting. And that's going to do it. Thank you guys for watching. My quarterbacks, I don't know where in post it's going to be at. Somewhere here is my list of top 10 quarterbacks. We're giving away a signed Brian Holmes Jr. helmet. And I already talked about that, but I just want to remind you that's happening down in the description. All the stuff's there. I'm going to cut to Wes. So Wes, you do some filler conversation for like 15 seconds and your top 10 quarterbacks are going to pop up on the screen.
Yeah, here they are. Somewhere clearly on the screen, we have my top 10 quarterbacks for 2025. You'll notice that neither of us decided to put Baker Mayfield. And no, neither of us put Justin Herbert or Justin Fields.
Yeah.
We didn't put Michael Penix Jr. No Sam Darnold. He's not going to
No
repeat in the top 10.
Tua?
No Tua, despite can you see? That's how big my hope is for the Dolphins season. That's how big it is. It's actual size.
Listen, thank you guys for watching. Stick around either next week. We're just keep on rattling off these positional rankings here. So running backs or wide receivers, probably running backs if I had to guess, but we'll talk about it. Stick around, like, subscribe, ring the bell, drop in the comments, let us know who is in your top 10, and we'll see you next time. My name is Noah Selby.
And I'm Wes Selby.
And this has been Fourth and Troll Fantasy.